Good day. This is Regina's Rabbit Hole, and I'm on the porch off the yard. We were talking about Kundalini energy, right? And I was talking about just the kind of stuff that I would want to share with my friends, children, just anybody who would want to hear me. It's what I think about Kundalini energy, what I've studied, what I implement, what I believe, what I utilize, right? Stuff that I can actually use and how I interact. And just sharing that with you, right? So today we're doing green. I went through red and we did, and I'm excited because I'm staying organized. That's just a new one for me, right? And then we did orange and we did yellow, even though yellow and green kind of blended together. No, the orange and the green kind of blended together. But today we're just going to do green. We're going to do green, and green is for love, right? The heart chakra. What do I know about love? I don't know. The reason why it's taken me so long is because I'm not a guru. But I do love practical application and how real stuff works. Growing up in the church and seeing how there was a lot of contradictions, and seeing how we're talking about Kundalini energy, seeing how we allow our passions and desires to go rampant and build environments so that they can breed, and allow our egos to flourish is what I saw and experienced a lot in the church. And it hurt. It hurt because as a child, that's the only place that I knew to be able to seek guidance. It's such a tender thing. Spirituality is very intimate. And when you're a child, and we all have things that are going on within our homes, and we seek out a tenderness, we seek out a guidance, we seek out some acceptance, we seek out some grounding, some balance, some purity. We seek out a way to vindicate ourselves, to, you know what I'm saying, to make stuff right. And as a youth, we really do start looking for these things. People need to watch what they say about the youth, because yes, who did raise them? Who put that work in? Or who didn't? Who got hit where their children were subject to whatever we were subject to, right? Our own personal ideas and demons and assets, abilities, all that. It all comes with being who we are. And all this is up in the church. And all this is kind of undefined up in the church with the word and fashion and that basket. And so I had a hard time with love as an incest survivor. I wasn't playing when I was looking for a God, when I was looking for something that would have the right of way to make a difference in my life. I wasn't really trying to play with people. I had already been through so many different series of missed messages. And I could see as a child that people really weren't responsible for that. You could look in their eyes and see how freaking dead and blank and just pointless, just how oblivious they were, but yet they were looking at you like you had to be beholden and subject to what it is that they were, because that's all that they had. But as a child, you're not able to really articulate that, and you better not. You better not.
Grandma.
Yes, sweet pea.
Can I have some tea?
Yes. Okay. The tea bags are in the cabinet. Do you know where you want me to find it, or do you think you could look for it?
I could find it.
Okay. So I had to find my way. And I was looking for love, for real love. Okay? What I found was there's a level of accountability. And I didn't want that part. I wanted to just keep striking out at things that hurt me, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have a solution for stopping it. I didn't have a way to heal the pain that I was feeling. And I heard about the agape love, the godly love. For lack of better words, I'm just going to go with the words that are available. Our Creator's love, you know? But there was a problem with that, because with each religion, the definition and perception of agape love changed, because if love is in the eye of the beholder, then that was defined by your culture. And certain cultures had exceptions for love, for holding back your love, or even...
The one that's in your room, the cup.
Yes, you can use that one. Yes, you can use it. Or even dishing out punishment. We had excuses, we had laws, we had cardinal rules. We had social sanctions and just the way that we do things. It's all cultural. So understanding this as a child was very difficult. I didn't feel like it was fair. I was very angry. Called myself Raging Bull for a while. And tore my behind as far as I could. Just heat, angry. Because I didn't see a solution. You know, and that's what I'm getting at. So everybody's idea is different culturally according to love. And we're talking about Kundalini energy. I've been talking about how I see this sexual energy, this sacred energy move and interact with us and our society. How I see it like a ghost, like an energy. It is an energy. How we move it. And so I'm just talking about how I see that move and how it's made its manifestations in my life. So how do you forgive a pedophile? How do you forgive people who are full of so much hate? There's a level of accountability when you start seeing things. That's why I ask myself, how do you forgive these certain things when they just keep morphing and changing? Like, you know, won't stay still. There's no place to nail this crap down. Even when you go to forgive, it starts to do a little jig and dance through each religion and culture. Real perspective. It's okay for him, but not okay for her, too. It was general. But wait a minute, it was economic, too. These things that I was trying to nail down so that I could eradicate them from my life, so that they wouldn't get in the way of love. How I loved, how I interacted, what I loved, how I wanted my life to be. So my idea, my perception of this passion I had, of this way I wanted things to look, all that was getting in the way. And when what you want so badly is being blocked, love gets distorted. I often think that when you look at the narcissist, for those of you who don't know, I study psychology, and my favorite is what they call behavioral psychology or abnormal psychology. Abnormal psychology is really interesting because it's really culturally based, because like IQ, you know, it depends upon perception and what the culture deems relevant, significant. In the same way that Knowing about computers doesn't have the same relevance as living in the jungle and needing to know about plants and where you can get water and food and things like that from, how to build shelter, you know, how to pay your taxes and how to move money around and how to sell things online. It's going to be a whole different line of intelligence depending on geographical, you know what I'm saying? And even if it's the same geographics, if the people's mentality or they have something else in mind, that doesn't necessarily mean that your idea is what it is that you're looking at, what you love, what you are passionate about, what you want to do, are going to work. So start looking at how we're different, okay? There's different types of people, and what I've come down to that I'm pleased with, something called human design, and there's different aura types. Just telling you a tool that I use. There's manifestors. They initiate stuff, you know. Said in another time in a past life, perhaps they were the controllers and they built stuff, so they still have that aura about them. We all have auras about us in the same way that we have different zodiacal signs that people can relate to. There's some truth and relevance to those signs, although you don't want to fixate, like lock yourself in. I started looking for other ways to look at people, right? And so one of the things I like is looking at human design. Do you have the generators and the generator manifestors, and what they do is they wait to respond. And their main question is, who am I? So that's the whole way they approach life is, who am I? Who am I? Okay? You have the projector. I'm not even going into percentages of these people. That is why I go by universal laws, energy-based, divine of oneness. All within yourself. I am Godness. My exact thoughts is what I'm saying. Thank you very much, Becca. Yeah, you know. Science, certain sciences, I can say, not all, have a significance where if you can find a practical application, it is what it is. Universal law is one of those things, and human design is kind of plugging in to the background energies and the way that we interact with one another. It is what it is, and personality types are personality types. The projector is like, who are you? Who is the other? You know, so they're looking around, really always checking out. You know what I'm saying? Some people are introspective, other people are projecting, looking, but always looking what they bring with them. We're always looking with what we've been indoctrinated with. We're always looking with what's in our heart. We're always looking with what our passions, what we're full with already. We're always looking with ourselves, and that's why they say wherever you go, or wherever I am, or wherever you go, there you are. And then I was thinking, but for the grace of God. That's when you learn that all is self. The reflector reflects. That's obvious, right? So, and this is what I thought was pretty cool too. While everybody is on this solar thing, there are people that are on a lunar thing, you know. They're on the moon cycle and they just vibrate differently. And that's okay too. We need that. We're a bunch of gears and cogs and vibrations and frequencies making a symphony as we walk through the day. If you live in the city, you can sit by and listen to the cityscape. They even have soundscape meditations where you can sit there and listen to the city's background. You can listen to raindrops and cars and honking and brown noise. That's people talking in the background and footsteps on pavement. Cups being put down and things like that. The friendly noise. And the reflector is always like, who are they? And they reflect. They reflect, who are they? It's said that they measure everything, right? All right, so knowing that there is different types of people and things are what they are brings me to the serenity prayer. It goes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Now, I started off talking about pedophilia. I started off talking about the things that are in the church that are very painful. You're talking about liars and killers and thieves. You're talking about the 7 deadly sins. You're talking about how without the proper perceptions and insights, you cannot clear away a certain amount of negative energy, whereas the ability to cleanse out, thinking of universal law, lack of knowledge about the universal law alone is freaking dangerous. You have a church, you have people. So I say, I'm not a guru. You do what you do for you and be responsible for you. There's a level of accountability. We're just being here on the planet, and we're not taught that. And so there's a devalue in what we love when we're not taught that. Everything we touch is golden. Everything we touch, all roads lead back to self. We're not empowered. We're giving our power away to people who don't even know how to move the energies in their ship. They don't know about the energies of other people's ship. When their practitioners go to court, when they're thrown in jail, whether it be literally or figuratively, spiritually, they don't really know how to utilize the energies as much as they are portraying. And I'm not saying everyone, but hey, isn't there a church on every corner in the ghetto? Maybe. Could be more. And for these rinky-dink little palaces that make sure that they have their 10%, their tithes, not even going to go into tithes and whether we should still be doing tithes, or how those tithes can manifest in other things other than money, like talents and abilities that could help resurrect the community. If we looked at each other differently and our energies and perspectives were just rearranged just a little bit, here and here, and according to one's perception, according to how that's why I was going into the different personality types. We are not all the same. But even so, as you are, where you are, and how we perceive, and we were all taught to look at things just a little different and utilize those differences instead of repelling them. That perception alone changes the energy. That's love. Acceptance. Accountability. That's what I started seeing. And so started looking at the Kundalini energy and the color green. And I remember, I like to think of us as flowers or a landscape, how, using the metaphors, how people are a vast canopy across the world, how we all meet each other and, give this picture, but the world wouldn't be what it is without all these different dynamics. Like a forest would not be a forest without all its dynamics. And neither would we, because that canopy, that vast, miraculous canopy from Mar is expanded. Those birds fly. Those birds fly just like you can get on a plane and give a message, and they spread seed. And those seeds have medicines. And you end up with different things, even though the inner city has been mass overdeveloped and stuff like that. You still get the essence, because that's how powerful it is. The vastness of earth. And every breath you take and you see those trees, the symbiotic relationship. One thing that I found strange about this matrix is something that loves us so much, so completely. Like when I was asking, what is love? They chop the trees down. They disregard, ignore. And yet, that's where we get our air from, our substance from. Something so simple like the symbiotic relationship that we have with plant life. The bees, and how throw those off. And a whole homeostasis is messed up. And similar philosophies around the world you can equate to, they say, in the endangered species. Why do they try to save that species? Because if one vibration is played and is moving across the earth, in the same way that you can get on a plane and go for your freedom or share a message, to hear yourself heard, to dance, to sing, to expel, to share whatever it is that you are. In the same way that our vibration needs to be shared, like each one teach one, that we're all here for a reason. We're all playing a certain frequency and tone that is heard by our Creator. We're not all supposed to sound the same. We're a vortex. We're moving, exchanging spiritual energies. In the same way that you take a breath, looking at the forest and the greenery and the love. How much love that we're not seeing. I was seeing equated to how the womb space and the woman, just like the deeper meaning of words when you look. Like martyr and mar. And this greenery that I'm talking about. How the womb space was being taken for granted. Plain and simple. Man, don't poke out. What you doing looking at that tree? Trying to hug that tree. Talk about you looking at that leaf. That's some sissy stuff. Or some weird stuff. That's the essence of stuff. That's the big boy stuff. What? To understand, like, the deepness of what it is, we've been ignoring much too much. Our very essence goes into the ground and feeds and nurtures this whole thing that we are the battery for this thing. We are the snake that eats itself. Even wars and talking about polars, war and love both go into the canopy, into the aura of an environment. War breaks ley lines. War causes fractality in a way that is counterproductive. How much blood is on the land? How much chaos? How much low-grade frequency? But green, photosynthesis, the planet itself that provides food and nourishment for us, our very air that we breathe. Nah, this womb space doesn't do that. It just doesn't. So when I was looking for love, I started looking for what they told us not to look at and what was so devalued and unappreciated, and started seeing the power and my authority to just pay attention and give back to that what was right in front of my face. And I felt so empowered by that. Because you can't walk away from that, no matter what you do. You can ignore it, abuse it. You can do a lot of things. But the love of this planet and how it turns energy, how Ma will birth a baby to do what she could not, is infallible. Infallible. Universal law is a part of this clock. In the same way that when your dad decided to dock on your mom and she birthed you and you were part of the symphony, whether you were born a manifester or a generator manifester or a generator or a projector or a reflector, an Aquarius, a Scorpio, a Gemini, a Leo, an Aries, a Libra, whatever. You have your song to sing. You have something to say. You have something to do. And it's being usurped by people who don't know what the energy is, are been programmed. We've all have our social programmings to reestablish our connections with. Let's just say that. Not everything is a counterproductive thing. Some things are just the processes that we have to go through in order to grow and live. In the same way that waking up happens and we realize our responsibility and our accountability to this word called love. Some people don't know what it is. They're not built to hone in on that. But they have desire. And so I would guess it would be like the backside of lust is the backside of love. Where I would consider love as a liberator, a liberation. Lust would be the desire, the thirst, the vamp. Okay, so we're like this machine and we move across the earth and we get stuck in these boxes, these perceptions, these hurts and these pains. We get stuck in a lot of different stuff. There's a lot of traps, nooks and crannies, and like dirt that gets caught in the crevices of a house. You know what I'm saying? And I was looking at, in the same way that messages travel and we have the internet, looking at the analema, looking at astrology, looking at us as zodiac signs, looking at how we move. Yeah, the analema. Yeah, the sound wave. Back on the chakras and the chakra colors. Sound wave. The earth is a living being. The astrology is a reflection of us, all itself. Okay, so when we start looking at ourselves, this circle changes. I thought I lost you for a minute. This is us. Keep yourself in the middle. Realize that we're always changing with each idea, with each encounter, with each perspective, with each song that we come into contact with. It's okay to change. Roses make you feel different than the smell of a lilac, you know? We are a tree. We break down into color, columns, categories. This too is a wheel. This too, each of us a branch and some chart somewhere. Each of us a part of universal law. What? Each of us lost in a dark room, having to find our way according to our own perceptions in the confines of our own hearts. Do we want to plug into that? Were we taught to? Most of us, nah. Most of us were not taught that. And it's okay. It's okay to decide to change. It's okay to decide not to change. It's okay to decide to reflect and just check it out and consider it. But what I like most of all is that we're in a time when we can express ourselves. And to me, that's love. To be able to talk. I grew up in a time when you better keep your mouth shut. Children are seen and not heard. A lot of times that is still so. You can get in trouble for speaking. We're brought up in a society to be children. Children are seen and not heard. Get messed up. Start talking about things that grown folks' business. And grown folks aren't always doing the kind of business that is productive to children. So if we're going to be children, at least be about your business where the stuff is mutually beneficial to us, not killing us, right? And so that's the part that I realized could not be entrusted. And I wanted to keep casting all of that onto someone else. I wanted to keep getting angry, but that was just burning stuff down. It wasn't fixing anything. There was no practical application to anger and burning unless you're making, unless you're clearing. Are you clearing something so that we can plant? Like a storm, you know? Not every storm is bad. And just like the death of a seed or the death feeds the canopy into the roots, when we decompose, we do become food for the canopy that we're looking at or not looking at, that we're choosing to ignore. We cannot look at woman in a respectful way, but you still came out of one. All of us. I can be angry at my mother for her abusive ways, but I still came out of her. There's still lessons in that. Your child, they say, will pick up the lesson where you left off. And there's a poll. Your child, what about your parent? What does your parent show you? Your parent shows you a variety, a vastness of things, and Earth is our parent. You know, this canopy is our parent. That's why we can look at wildlife. We can look at the zodiac, full elemental zodiac. We can break each section down and find ourselves if we so choose to do this. Or we can polarize ourselves into one category of being and thinking and hope to God that you got it right. As long as you pay your tithes or kneel enough in the right direction. Better not fart in front of the wrong person. Don't fart wrong. We're on this tree, see? And so we're all seeing from our perspective according to our zodiac, according to our personalities. But we're not supposed to ignore the fact that there's other people around us doing the same thing. Duh. So yeah, this is the way I see it, but duh. That's the way they see it, and they have Every right to. What? Yeah, I said it. That's how you get a variety and a combination of different things that make the life so invigorating. That's what love happens. That's when you mish together the two. Bam, poles, huh? We don't want clones. We want something. I want something fantastico. So please share. So looking at us as sound waves, as energy. I hope we got that now. We're energy, frequencies, vibrations. Inside this box is another whole thing going on. And when this box is not here, there's still another whole thing going on. And that's the chi. It breaks down into sections in the same way that we do. You got your grandma, your ancestors, you have your martyrs. That's the energy of the people that got kind of jammed up in this piece, and they have something to say. Your own personal business, your ancestors, karmic stuff. That's the stuff that we do every day that kind of builds, comes with the decisions that we make and the way that we move with one another. Considering one another, I believe, will help with some of that karmic energy, the karmic chi. There's different chis. Batteries don't work. Your item is not going to work unless you put two batteries in there. You need a negative and a positive, or it's totally counterproductive. You're not going to get anywhere. Hence is the reason why they're carbon copying the same type of individual and culture, so you have no juice to move. We have no ability to function because we're too retarded. Too immature. Too childlike. Because we weren't taught to grow up, to love one another, or to even recognize what love is. Mama loves you. It's something that can be taken for granted, but it shouldn't be. Like the breath that we breathe. Like the womb space that we come from. Like the canopy that we live in. Vortex energy. Today is Sunday. A lot of people are celebrating Sunday. Play on words. It's actually a lunar day, I believe. Saturday is Sunday. That's a whole nother thing, right? So you got Saturn's cube. Look it up. Energy, and the way we break down an energy, and the way things are like right in front of our face, and vortex math, and that's what your 9, your 6, and your 3 as a foundation and a pyramid structure. So what that tells me is that in the same way that I was showing you in human design, there are certain types of people. We're all not meant to be the same. For instance, I'm a generator, and I have a lot of ideas, and I have a lot of stuff going on. I'm a manifestor generator. I'm a triple manifestor generator, actually. But I don't actually want to be. That's the funny thing. A lot of times we don't actually want to be who we are. I would like to be organized, and I see here that, those reflectors and those projectors, they've been looking. The projector says, who is the other? And the reflector says, who are they? And they've been peeping. All the other people running around, or stuck in a box, kind of laid back in the cuff, doing their own thing by their own nature. Hopefully, if they haven't been programmed and beat down. It's the kind of stuff that we need to learn. And that's how organizing our energy better. We have certain people that are depending on the way the culture is running, there are certain people that can get an anchor on things, and then other people move them. Other people implement them. Other people float them in the same way that this conversation will be shared with you, and you'll jump on a cab, on a bus, in your car, put your kicks on, walk down the street, go jogging, on a plane, and share bits and pieces of me with other people. Whatever you could find mutually beneficial. Take what you need and leave the rest. Whatever you find shareable. This is my shareable wave. This is my frequency, my code. Not as a woman, not as a black woman, as a human. As somebody sharing a light code frequency stuck in a box within a culture. And the same way that tree can't help but be there or not there. Will it be hewn down or not? Will it be appreciated or not? Will we share with one another and grow or not? It's all a choice. So I was checking out Saturn's cube and vortex math. Checking out healing energies, chi energy, counter, clockwise versus clockwise. While I was looking at the planet, looking at astrology, and the sound wave, and the analema, and how we move, or poles, we're energies that dance with one another. So I thought that was cool. All in love, star, looking at all the different ways that we fit together. We're a puzzle. We're getting jiggy with it. Get it? Jigsaw, puzzle. So, anyway, I love jokes. What else did I have that I wanted to share about the color green? Love, 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 love. Tolerance. Yes, tolerance, tolerance, tolerance. Just because I'm willing to change and I want to do some things doesn't mean that you do. We are not all supposed to be the same. Hey, I like that stationary person once in a while who's always doing the same thing. Occasionally, because I'm all over the place, and it helps to know that, yeah, on station number whatever, boom, Joe Blow or Sue or Saquon or whoever, Shaniqua is going to be right there doing whatever they do, always and forever. Sounds good, right? Did you lose your way? Yeah. Paint a mark on that tree right there. We used to do that when we were little. Go hiking. You would follow the colored dot that they put on the tree. So when you got lost on the trail, you could find your way back. Just follow the dot. Because it would take a few times going through that route to be able to find that particular tree again. After a while, you just know. Oh, that's that tree. Do you really like that tree? Or you just need that tree because it's the one that shows you the way? Do we learn to appreciate things? I don't know. It's just some insight, some love. Much love to you. The color is green. We're talking about Kundalini energy. Talking about chakras. Sharing the love. As a spouse, a sister, a friend. Sometimes, but not always. I'm first and foremost a light code frequency. Sharing the space with you. Trying to figure this out just like you. And when I go where I'm supposed to go at, I just want to be happy. Alright, so this is Regina's Rabbit Hole. My grandson wants to dance again. He actually thinks I'm fun. Now I know I'm in a different world. Grandmas are fun. Alright, so much love to you and yours. This is Regina's Rabbit Hole. I'm out. Thank you for being with me, family. Much love to you. Hi, Immortal. My best supporter, Satu, reflection.